Sailing through the fjords in Patagonia, in totally remote places, and meeting the elements in the raw, and then the contrast of building sandcastles on the beach in French Polynesia. We talk about this in the interview today with Lynette and Niels. Welcome to Sailor's Life. Today I'm on Stormalong, a Vanderstad design 40 feet long, a steelboat. Lynette and Niels are a Dutch couple and sailed her so far from Amsterdam, across the Atlantic, around South America and through Patagonia. Then they crossed the Pacific via Eastern Ireland to French Polynesia. And in between they had Jade, their little baby.
Well, I've been, adventuring and sailing basically my whole life. Small boats, bigger boats, regattas. But I always had kind of a dream to, it'd be nice to sail a bit around the world, or at least see parts of the world by boat. Once we realized we both really liked the lifestyle and the way of traveling. So that was kind of a dream coming out. I said maybe we should look for a bigger boat, and Lynette was enthusiastic too.
We were looking for a boat and we didn't have a very big budget, and so that's why we also chose to have a steel boat, because it was a lot cheaper, and we found this boat and I thought it was actually good to go, but Niels thought a bit different about this. And so if he starts a job, he's usually wants to do it all and wants to do it very well. So that's why we ended up with the boat that had no interior anymore, and that he redid literally everything. The only original thing that we have inside is the oven.
It was nice, the designing part. The building was a bit harder, but as I worked in the super yacht industry, I could ask the carpenters how to do things, which was nice, and I could use their tools, and I had some help. I've removed all of the interior, all the electronics, engine, everything, and rebuild everything, from scratch. This design of Vanderstad was quite well, I think. Quite a good hull shape, quite a good sail plan, and a steel, so it's quite strong, good for ice.
It was pretty clear from the beginning that Niels said he really wanted to sail to Patagonia. I wanted to go to New Zealand, so we decided to go to New Zealand via Patagonia. And yes, Niels, he did some preparation. He read a lot of blogs of people that went there, and he studied the weather also very extensively.
So we left the Netherlands, sailed past the European coastline, basically to the Canarian Islands, Cabo Verde. From there we crossed to Salvador de Bahia, which is about 2,500 miles from Mindelo. So that was the first big ocean crossing we did. And from there we sailed relatively quickly past the Brazilian coastline and all the way south. We stopped in Mar del Plata, where we bought a lot of ropes and lines to fix the boat to the shore, as there's no more normal anchoring from there on.
How did you prepare yourselves medically for this trip?
We just had a standard medical kit that the Netherlands kind of prescribe for sailors. So it's a few antibiotics, gear to stitch wounds, and we have a book also. And in case of emergency, you can call the radio medical service and they can advise you on what to do.
Did you have to take supply with you for a long time?
Yes, we had to take supplies with us. So we planned to cross these channels in 3 months time. And we knew that there were 2 stops on the way, where one big village, it's called Puerto Natales, where you can refuel and also do grocery shopping. And there's a other little settlement where you might be able to get some fuel and maybe some fish, but not a lot. It's a very small settlement called Puerto Eden. So yeah, we took a lot of stuff with us, but the good thing about the cold was that we could keep a lot of fruits and vegetables. That was the upside of the cold, that a lot of things kept a lot longer.
Niels, and what about the water? Where did you get water from? Do you have a water maker?
No, in that time we didn't have a water maker, but in Patagonia that's no problem. there's or a lot of water or a lot of waterfalls where you can actually get some water, so you can basically maneuver the boat close to a waterfall, hook up a hose, you know, make a funnel, hang it in the waterfall and fill the tanks like that.
Anchoring with shorelines, so it's not only anchoring with an anchor, it's a different style of anchoring there.
Well, usually the bays are very small and very deep and rocky, so there's not so much space to swing around your anchor, and you have like catabolic winds coming down from the mountains, so actually you move sideways quite a lot. It's preferable to just anchor, sail like reverse into the bay, and then run a few lines from the back of the boat to big trees, tie them off on big cleats or winches. It stops you basically from moving from one side to the other.
The thing is that if you're busy with the ropes, also if you leave the next day, it's like half an hour at least to untie everything before you can go. And since we sailed in the winter where the days were quite short, we couldn't do a lot of miles per day.
When you are in a fjord in Patagonia, you have a quality like stillness, majesty, solitude. Being away from everything must be a very special feeling.
Yes, it is, and it makes you feel vulnerable too, because if you make a mistake, you know, it's a lot of trouble to repair the boat. So yes, this for sure was every day some kind of a feeling that you should make sure the boat is in good shape and stays in good shape, make sure the engine is perfect, everything, all the systems work fine, and it's quite special that way. Yeah.
The nature must be spectacular in Patagonia.
Yes, it's quite impressive, especially in the very south, where the landscape is very rough, and
with the big glaciers and the big impressive bays and the very high mountains. Yeah.
And cold, I guess.
Yes, for sure. We have also 2 heaters in the boat, and also when we arrived in Ushuaia, it was so cold on our feet in the boat that we bought a carpet.
Yes, also we have a very well insulated boat with double glazing windows, and we can actually close off the dodger so the heat stays inside the boat while we're sailing.
Lynette, did you see lots of animals?
Yes, we did, especially a lot of birds in the beginning. And when we entered the Beagle Channel, we thought, what's this? What's going on? Because we heard a bit of this push, push, and we thought that there was maybe hot springs on the shore, and it took us a while to realize that we were just completely surrounded by whales. Also, the hiking. Well, you know, you think you go hiking and there's a trail, but there's not really a trail, so usually it's bushwhacking and you don't make so much progress.
Did you meet a lot of fishermen there?
Well, actually, as you said before, Patagonia is quite a remote area, but since we chose to sail in the Chilean channels in winter, it was even more remote, and we were the only 2 boats that were doing this crossing. Another American guy joined us, and we didn't meet any other sailboats, only the fishermen, and they fish a lot of centolla, which is a king crab. And in total, this crossing of the channels, I think we made 49 stops, and it was almost exactly 3 months that we sailed from Puerto Williams to Puerto Montt. And in Puerto Montt, Nils' parents were visiting, and so we even explored Patagonia after with them by car, which was also very special to see everything from a really different perspective. So after we've been in the Patagonian channels for 3 months, we left Chile and we sailed to Isla Robinson Crusoe or Isla Juan Fernandez, which is officially also still Chile. So we were still in Chile, and then the really last stop was Easter Island. And after Easter Island, we sailed to French Polynesia, to Gambier, and we arrived actually just 1 week before the lockdown from COVID started, so we spent a long time in Gambia, which was really, really nice. Our plans changed a bit because when we were in this island, actually in Moorea, I found out that I was pregnant.
So did you have the baby here in French Polynesia?
No, we actually decided to leave the boat in Moorea on the heart, and we flew back to the Netherlands.
We were supposed to spend only 3 months because we wanted to go to New Zealand still, but 1 year later. But unfortunately, it was pretty clear that the borders would not open again in 2021, so that's why we decided to stay a bit longer at home. Now that we have her with us, it's not as simple anymore as it used to be. The sailing I find quite difficult because you have to take care of the baby all the time, and also recently she got seasick a few times, and that's why we decided to change our plan and go to Canada. We will spend the summer in British Columbia, where it will be mostly day trip sailing. The only thing is that it's 4,500 miles from here. So we decided that Niels would sail the distance and that me and the baby will take the plane. With Jade on board, a lot of things changed, not only in terms of sailing, but also the daily chores, because of course the baby has to wear diapers, and we thought, well, we cannot throw all these diapers in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on these small islands. It will be so much garbage. So also because of that, we chose to have washable diapers. But Niels, he said, well, if we do this, we really need to buy a washing machine. So to close the bed, we can close it all the way to the top, so she cannot get out, but usually we have it like this. And as you can see, she has some little music here. Oh.
Subscribe my channel Sailors Life if you want to follow more facts, experiences and stories. Give me a thumb up and press the bell if you don't want to miss any of these interviews.